Hey everybody, it's Mr. Delusive here with the weekly Devblog. Today I'm going through what I did this week, which is all about the construction bay. I recorded this morning, but I found a bug with the ship, so I had to fix that, and I wanted to re-record anyway. Because even the first recording, I forgot to turn up the mic volume, so I had to re-record. So yeah, it's all about the construction bay. I fixed a lot of bugs and did UI updates. So I'll show the construction bay first. So this is the new section here. You can build any item you want, depending on what faction space you're in. So Delsec space, you can build Delsec items. So yeah, as you can see, weapons-Delsec. We've got every single weapon. And then engines, shields and specials. As you can see, I haven't worked on engines and that yet, which will be after all the weapons are done. So yeah, all the weapons I pretty much stopped on for a while so I could go back to some proper coding, because I got sick of drawing all the time, wanted to code. So with this, you just click the item you want. You need the required materials. I've already bought some here. So some, like that's the fighter version of that weapon. This is the frigate, cruiser and battleship, and as you can see, it requires more materials. So the neural networks, they cost around 120k, processors are 10k. So yeah, it fills out the cost of, say, buying the weapon outright from the market here, but it costs a lot more to build the item yourself. I mean, that's initially anyway, and then once you go down the path of, say, the trader or construction skills, when you level up and stuff, and when I get to work on the skill tree, you'll see it costs less to build it yourself, but that'll be later game. So from the start, like the cost, so say this charged cobalt plasma, it costs 1900 to buy from Delsec Space and 710 to sell. But the materials to buy all this, the cobalt's like 200 or yeah, actually no, 400 credits. So just cobalt itself here costs 2k credits. So as you can see, even just building it costs more than the buy price. And I've purposely done it this way because, yeah, with the skills, once the skill tree is done, that'll make it worth it. And also the benefit of building it yourself is, as you can see here, you get modifiers, which you don't get on the market. And the reason you don't get them on the market is because you can easily abuse that and just keep logging out and back into the game until you get modifiers you want to buy. But yeah, at least with this, it's random. So I got a little bit lucky there with a advanced weapon, I think because of the magnetism modifier. There's just the basic one, another one. So there's a crap, loose. So yeah, as you can see, the modifiers work. And then you can see it in the cargo bay, all the weapons here working correctly. And that's another thing I did, I added more visual feedback here, and I've changed the font here to be proper because the other font wasn't showing the plus and the percent, and I've changed the firing rate to show per second instead of the frame. So like this was saying 60, which actually means, yeah, 1 bullet per second there. So I've changed that. Yeah, more feedback here so you can see what tab's selected when you highlight it. And then, yeah, so, you know, those can now be equipped, etc. So the bug I was facing, I spent all this morning up until now, which is 2 p.m, figuring this out, and I thought it was to do with because I moved the ship market. So that's another thing I did. I moved the ship market to the main area now. It's no longer here, but it was actually because of the modifiers. So it wasn't say you'd have these weapons with modifiers on this ship and you change ship, right? So this one's got modifiers as well. But say you exited and come back and then you switch back to the other ship, what it was doing was it was defaulting to the default items of that ship, because I was doing if the gun name is equal to the item.gun list, or but I wasn't considering the modifiers, which I was doing for the base ship, this one, or the current ship that's equipped when you log in, but I wasn't doing it for all the other available ships. But it was just a nightmare to fix because of the differences in code. But it's finally done, and hopefully it's completely fixed now. So that's all proper now. So yeah, those items can be equipped. Fair magnetism, that's a decent one. So yeah, just like, or you can sell them as well, just like if you'd find them in the gameplay. So another thing I fixed here was this. Like I said a few videos back, there was that delay. Now I fixed that. So that's another thing. Because this and the marketplace are separate classes, I don't detect for a mouse click. So yeah, as you can see there, it updates instantly. So that's finally fixed. As well, there was another bug that the colors weren't displaying correctly, so that's fixed now too. And I think that's everything I've done this week. So yeah, the first things I did was I actually made more weapons, but then I got bored of doing that, so first I moved the ship market to here. So it works exactly the same. You can only buy DelSec ships in DelSec space and ViperSec in ViperSec space and so on. And the good thing about having it here now is this will be able to be accessed from any planet, and then I can put specific ship lists in the buy ship section for each planet. So like say in Delusia, I'll have maybe just fighters. And then say you fly to, let's say Veritas is going to be one of the later game DelSec space areas. So say this is level 1, and then by the time you get to Veritas it'll be a level 20, so maybe that's frigates. So the planets in Veritas will sell only the frigate ships, or maybe they'll sell only a few. So yeah, actually that's what I was thinking. So like say in DelSec you might be able to buy the initiative, confidence, and maybe the spirit, let's say, and then that's in Delusia 1, and then Delusia 2 will be similar, but maybe instead of the spirit it'll be the Aeonian. And then to buy your assurance, let's say, you have to fly to a different system. So yeah, it'll look like there's less ships because they'll be so spread, but yeah, I mean there's 150 plus ships. I forget the exact number, but I think that's enough ships. But yeah, there'll be say 3 or 4 ships for sale at each planet, and that's the good thing about having the ship market there. So yeah, I moved that, and then I started on the construction bay and did all this. And then I just went through and fixed all the bugs and did all this stuff with the visual feedback there. And then that was that. So yeah, I mean, next up I'm going to maybe work on the skill tree, because I still want to work on code. I don't really want to keep just making weapons and that. It got repetitive and I was stalling a bit. But yeah, at least with this, so I just went straight into it and like pumped out 8 hours on the, like say on Friday, I just did 8 hours on Construction Bay non-stop, maybe like one game of Dota in between, but that was that. And like I don't usually do that when I'm doing the artwork. It's only when I'm doing code, like I can sit there for 14 hours even just working on the code, but yeah. So trying to break it up again, even though I want to get all the items done, because once all the items are done, and now at least with the Construction Bay as well, it'll be ready to upload to Steam in alpha. Not that I'm gonna sell it or release it in alpha. It won't even be released to test. It'll just be there to upload, so I can finally have it on Steam. And yeah, I only want to do that upload once all the content is done, because then all I'll have to do, I don't have to do any of the artwork, I just have to work on the code, and that's that. But yeah, so next week probably the skill tree. I still have to do the material lists for like all this stuff, the engine shield specials, and then all the weapons for the other factions, which will be accessible once you're in that faction space. So that's probably what I'm going to show off next week. Yeah, maybe the skill tree, but the skill tree I'm still trying to figure out how I want it to play out. So I'm either going to do it like looking like this, or even actually like this, where it's just this pop-up screen, and then you'll have, you know, tabs that say fighter, let's say, and then all your skill list, like all the skills you can spend your skill points on will be in here, that are maybe, you know, plus 10% damage, plus 10% move speed, or, you know, anything. And then in another tab will be like your trader type stuff, so buy prices cheaper, sell prices better, you know, maybe even put construction, and then path of the miner, let's say. And then I was thinking as well, because I'm going to add planetary missions and gameplay. So at the moment there's only space, so there's only when you launch you go into space, but I'm going to change this launch button and then have another button fly to surface, and then there'll be, say, missions that you can do on surface. And yeah, like, and because I'm doing that, I was thinking to have in the construction bay, because I still have to do the base material construction, because I'm only doing items. Because if you look at marketplace, there's like steel and even water, so I want them to be buildable items as well. So, you know, you build water by 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, and yeah, the advanced stuff as well, like yeah, like your alloys. And so delunium alloy was delurium, and I think titanium. So yeah, obviously I want that in here, but I'll probably add tabs, so items and then materials, and then have materials. It'll work the exact same way. So that'll be that. And then yeah, so in that materials I might have items you can build for each planet that will auto mine. So let's say, you know, you've got 2 auto miners on Delusia 1, and they every 30 seconds will generate 1 random, maybe hydrogen, carbon, even cobalt, which will be more expensive. And yeah, so that'll slowly build your profits over time. And then if you go down the path of, in the skill tree of the constructor, you know, those things will have more benefits. And I want to bring that in because my other game, the web game I built, had a lot of, well, that was an incremental game, and it had clicker as well, but all the incremental stuff, like I can do the same way. Like in my other game, I had expeditions, and you could go on expedition. Well, you send it off to an expedition, and after a certain amount of time, it generated a certain amount of materials for you, which you can sell. And that can work exactly the same way here. You can even have drones and yeah, the planetary stuff that generates you resources can work the same way as my game had the automation crawlers. So in that other game, there was the automation crawlers, which would generate you currency over time. So that could work the same way. And then there was a stock market on that. I don't think I'd put a stock market in this straight up, but yeah, like there'll be, like I really want to bring a lot of elements from that game to this one, because it is the same universe. There was the 5 factions, even though instead of Reina it was Russia Tech. So what I did with this is I removed Russia Tech and I've changed it to Reina. So yeah, like in that there was Delsec, there was ViperSec, there was Griffin Bank, there was Chimera Sec, and yeah, the Russia Tech. So, but yeah, I mean, and that's where I am basing as well. Like the story of those 5 factions there was, yeah, like it's a lot similar. Delusia is all about, well, Delsec, sorry, is all about order and, you know, control. And that was the same. And if you played that game for a bit and followed the automation route, it does actually have 5 endings, and you'll see the kind of ideals that each faction had. So it's going to be similar anyway. But yeah, so that's that. I kind of went on about it a bit, but that's the plan anyway, with the story as well. And yeah, like hopefully I'll be bringing all those elements in that will make this even more fun, especially the flying on planets. So it'll add all that variety. So anyway guys, I'll leave this video at that. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next week.